2026. Welcome, everyone. Amy, would you do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Paxton?
Here.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Here.
Commissioner Jones?
Here. Thank you. Manager Vaughn, would you lead us in the pledge, please? Gentlemen, you have an agenda before you. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. That motion is approved. You have the minutes of the regular meeting of May 26th in front of you. Is there any discussion or changes suggested? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion is approved. We'll go to 3, public comment. I see we've got a number of folks out there. The commission really likes to have public comment from our constituents. We do have a signature sheet. If you didn't sign up, you're still welcome to come up. But when you come to the podium, identify yourself, and you'll have 3 minutes. Now, the county commission will not respond to public comment because it's not on our agenda. But we will take into consideration anything that's done, and it may be on a future agenda. But you're welcome to state your case on whatever your issue is in the 3 minutes. So, anybody want to start off with a public comment? Approach the podium, ma'am, and give us your name, please.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sulamay Anderson, and I live with my family in Monticello. I'd like to discuss a topic that has been coming up recently, the possibility of a major data center being built in Sierra County. It hasn't been confirmed if this is actually in the works yet, but given what's been happening just north and south of us, I don't think it's an overreaction to make our feelings on the matter extremely clear and take some steps to ensure nobody else makes this choice for us while we aren't paying attention. First, I just want to provide some quick statistics on the impact of these new generations of AI data centers on their communities and local environment. I have a printed source list for all information cited here if anyone is interested, and before anyone asks, no, this information was not compiled or written using generative AI. I like my cognitive function just the way it is. So, electricity bills. In 2025, utility rate increases totaled $9 billion. One primary reason for this is the widespread construction of AI data centers. In states with a high concentration of data centers, such as Virginia, electricity prices have increased over 267%. Residential electricity prices rose by 11.5% in 2025 nationwide, outpacing inflation, and prices are expected to increase by up to 40% by 2030. We need to deeply consider whether Sierra County residents who live in one of the most poverty-stricken areas of our country should be footing rising electricity costs for the sake of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Second, water usage. This is an easy one. Data centers require huge amounts of water to keep servers cool. Mid-sized facilities can use up to 300,000 gallons daily, while larger facilities guzzle approximately 5 million gallons every day, around the same as an average small town. Tech companies realize that the issue of their data centers guzzling water, particularly in water-poor areas like our own, is hugely unpopular. That is why they will make all kinds of promises about how their centers will not use more water than the community can spare. Expect those promises to be broken. This year in Fayetteville, Georgia, a data center mistakenly drained 30 million gallons of water without paying for it. In Newton County, Georgia, a Meta data center routinely requests more water than the entire town uses daily. Nearby residents have had their taps literally run dry. Some advanced designs, such as what Project Jupiter is proposing after backlash to their original design and changing estimates of water usage, recycle cooling water in a closed loop. Quote-unquote zero water designs do reduce the need to tap into local drinking water supplies. However, Many of these designs raise electricity demand, which in turn can increase indirect water use, and there's also the question of where they're dumping the water and what's in it. I don't think I need to go too deeply into the issue of water shortage in Sierra County. The greater Rio Grande Basin is highly sensitive to increased water extraction. Do Sierra County communities, farmers, and ranchers need to conserve our dwindling water supply even more, while a large corporation guzzles untold amounts of this life-giving resource to enrich their wealthy shareholders? Can we trust the promises they will make regarding this issue as they seek to ram it through our local government?
So that's it, that's your 3 minutes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Folks, this is not a popularity contest, so I'll ask you to withhold your applause. Is there anybody else that wants to speak? Yes, ma'am. And I see a couple of gents came in after. If you wish to speak, we've got the list up here, so you'll have the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, sir.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Riel Feldhaus. I am a single disabled mom, and I am here to say no to a data center as well. As she pointed out, it's going to have a huge impact on us. I'd like transparency. 8 months ago, helicopters mapped out water sources here locally. My question to you is why? Did you guys backdoor a potential deal to put in a data center? If so, how much are you guys personally going to profit for the decrease to our quality of life? Okay, U.S. data centers account for over 4% of the nation's total electricity consumption, with projections suggesting that it could reach 12% by 2028 for the rapid growth of AI. A single hyperscale AI data center can demand 100 megawatts to 400 megawatts of power. That's the equivalent of up to 300,000 homes. How many homes are in this town, in this county? Running thousands of servers generates massive heat, requiring millions of gallons of water daily for cooling. A single medium-sized facility can consume up to 5 million gallons of water a day. That's equivalent to the daily water use of a small city. Are we not a small city? Where is that water going to come from if you put a data center in? How do you expect a retirement community, families like mine that are already struggling to pay electric and water bills, to absorb that kind of financial impact? Then there's the land and habitat displacement, the air and noise pollution risks that a data center poses. Outside of Tier C, we have Elephant View, which is at the lowest levels that I personally have ever seen, and I grew up here. What impact will a data center have on its water levels and the tourism it brings? All of these are things that will not only negatively impact our community, but decrease quality of life for the residents here. Part of your job as commissioners is to serve as a direct link between the residents and local government, listening to community concerns and bringing neighborhood issues to the table. That means listening and actually hearing that your community is telling you to say no to a data center. So that is what I am asking you to do, say no to a potential data center. Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Did you wish to speak?
I don't think you should tell people not to applaud when we hear things that are for our better good. And that's like unheard of. Just like allow people to go like, oh yeah, thank you for standing up. That's all. But yeah, sure.
You're out of order. We're taking public comment because we desire to hear from the citizens.
And I love it. I'm grateful to hear from the citizens as well. That's why we go like this, because we love our citizens.
I'll go ahead.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Hi, my name is Kyle Smith. I live here. I'm also here to speak about data centers and to encourage the commission to place a moratorium on what are being called data centers. I want to go over that. I want to encourage you to place a moratorium on data centers and any infrastructure for any surrounding data centers. There are plenty of areas of concern. I'm going to go over a specific area, the bubble of the data center and what the data center actually is. Recently, a column in the Sentinel took a NIMBY approach to this, saying that we're selfish for not wanting one in our backyard. She argued that we all use data centers, therefore we should have one in our backyard. It's a selfish stance not to. These are not data centers, guys. They're being called data centers. We've had data centers for decades. These don't just store information. They process information and they manipulate it. That's what the AI factor is. Google's own researchers estimate that an AI data center an AI query uses 30 times more energy than a non-enabled AI query, and that's just a seriously conservative estimate. A lot of estimates go up to 700 more times, but that's Google's own researchers saying it's 30 more times. So these new data centers are nothing at all like the ones that decades that just simply store binary code and then release it back to us. These are processing massive amounts of information, so they're taking up a whole lot more energy. So it's a false equivalency when the Sentinel said we all use data centers. No, I don't use AI. I am a computer programmer. I am a computer nerd. I don't use AI. The reality of the increased data use or the increased energy use of it being a completely different industry entirely was left out of the column advocating for data centers in last week's paper. In addition, simple name data centers and obfuscation of what these are, blah, blah, blah. The AI industry has made a promise that it can take all the data in the world and process it better than people can, thus creating solutions people cannot. They've marketed this promise to businesses in all sorts of fields, and it's a promise they cannot keep. This industry is a bubble that is seriously about to burst, and if our county welcomes it, we will have a burden and not a benefit. Only 6 months ago, Microsoft gave its engineers access to Claude AI, a subscription, in the expectation of it boosting productivity. Less than a month ago, Microsoft's chief engineer announced they'd be reversing that decision and canceling all those subscriptions by June 30th. It wasn't only too expensive, but it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. In the spring of 2026, Uber went through the same thing. They had a yearly budget of like $3.5 billion. They burned it in 4 months for subpar results. AI is not doing what it's supposed to do across the board. People are ditching it. So there's a race to build all these data centers before the bubble bursts, guys. Don't let them do that to us. So these AI companies, they're publicly traded, and they are controlled by the desire of the shareholders to make more money. Often that's not accurate. They trade producing a reliably good product for the image of producing a reliable product. Just south of us, Project Jupiter is advertising that they will be powered by green energy, partnered with Bloom Energy to provide on-site energy demands.
Sir, I'll ask you to conclude in 3 minutes or so.
So I didn't know that actually got started accurately, but I'll conclude simply by saying, guys, Yale Insights has published, the Council of Foreign Relations has published, Forbes magazine has published all within the last week about this AI data center bubble getting ready to burst. And these, again, are not traditional data centers. These are very different, a totally different, separate beasts altogether. So I would encourage you to put a moratorium on them. I hope that next month we're going to get that item placed on the agenda to have a moratorium or a ban placed on these, and I thank you all for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, guys, thank you very much.
All right, we have decorum and we have order. You can either abide by the decorum and the order of the commission, or you can leave. If you continue that, I'll ask the sheriff to escort you out. So is there anybody else who wishes to provide public comment to the commission?
My name is June Wessett, mother and resident here in Tier C. I appreciate your time, and I respect the process. We want to lead by example. We are preemptively coming to you in that we are concerned. You can see our concern. Oftentimes we don't come to these commission meetings because we want to go along with the state of how things are going, but we're seeing that there is some extremely curious and dangerous things that are happening in our current climate across the nation. So data centers are not hugely popular, and it is across the political spectrum that they are becoming increasingly popular. You will hear quotes from various billionaires that are involved in these different the different data centers and in the industry, stating that they are seeking that the water has priority with the AI industry over human consumption. Jeff Bezos recently said that he would rather see the water go towards AI over humans. According to Gallup, 75% of Democrats and 65% of Republicans do not want a data center anywhere within our state. Socorro leads and proposes a moratorium on data centers, and we suggest that you also seek to do so. We would hope to see the topic on future agendas. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a comment? Going once? Going twice? Thank you for attending. I think it's important for the citizens to be involved in what the commission does. This commission and this county are absolutely, totally transparent. The things that we do in a public forum. There's nothing going on behind the scenes. We do not have a proposal for a data center in Sierra County. We've had nobody come forward. They may in the future, but when they do, we will address that with a public forum and also with the opportunity for the public to participate in that. And that's a guarantee that we make as a commission. So thank you for coming and contributing. Your comment is valued and it's noted, and we'll continue with our meeting. We have a consent agenda, gentlemen, with several resolutions. If you reviewed that, we would consider a motion to approve.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda A through F.
Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. That motion is approved. We'll go to presentations and reports. Manager Vaughn, years of service.
Thank you, Chair. We have quite a few today. Starting off in the assessor's office with 19 years of service is Tina Montemegro.
Wow. Now we can.
Okay, now moving on to detention, we have a couple there. First, with 4 years of service is Santiago Nieves. Stay up here. Thank you. Next, also in detention with 7 years of service is Jeremy Schmidt. And last, and with 8 years of service, also in detention is Eden Garcia. No, Robert Roberts isn't here?
Sometimes
Oh.
we're in
I'm sorry, and I missed one. And also in detention with 3 years of service is Robert White. Okay, now moving on to the road department with 5 years of service is Albert Lucero. Okay, next in our transfer station landfill is Urbano Garcia with 3 years of service. And last but not, oh, no, I got 2 more, sorry. And next in the clerk's office with 4 years of service, and I'm gonna ask Amy to do her last name, is Teresa Sokoviak. Sokoviak, thank you. And then next in the sheriff's department with 1 year of service is Chantal Gonzalez Frazier.
She's currently in Cuba.
Yeah. That's all her, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all, thank you so much.
Thank you. And it's always good to recognize our employees. So we'll go to department reports. Josh, I got eyes on you, so come on up.
Chairman, Commission, Manager Vaughn. Well, there isn't really a whole lot to report this time. We did finish up our chip seal from last month. We started at the end of May, we finished up in the first week of June. We got some fog still coming in the middle of July. After that, we'll do some striping, and the guys are up to their regular maintenance on plating as of 2 weeks ago. And I will stand for any questions.
Questions or comments? Thank you.
morning, Chairman, Commissioners, Manager Vaughn. Pretty short report this month, just because we're in budget freeze. So we're reconciling all the past POs, trying to get equipment brought in and everything paid out. I was gonna have a report done for our communications project done this meeting, but I'm gonna wait till next, because we're ironing out the kinks of everything. We've learned doing a complete overhaul of our communications project on multiple sites. There's some inverter things that we need to run a 48-volt system now, and the 12-volt inverters aren't holding up when we have a storm. So I want to ensure that all the kinks are worked out and we're operating effectively. And then I'll have a PowerPoint with a bunch of photos of all the infrastructure and equipment. And let's see, but weather forecast, as we're all experiencing the heat out there, you know, I just try to make sure everyone stays hydrated, be safe, seek shade when you can. This heat advisory that we're experiencing along with everyone else in the Southwest is throughout next week. There's some very, very slight precipitation, maybe in the higher elevations. It doesn't really look promising just because the heat out there is just making it turn into Virgo. So yeah, I just exercise caution with everyone to stay safe because this is some hot weather. I'm working with the cities to establish some cooling centers. They're gonna be standing up there today, just in case our residents get hot, maybe some water outages with their swamp coolers. We just want to ensure the safety of all our residents. That concludes my report. We'll discuss the other agenda items. I'll stand for any questions.
Are we putting out into the public where the cooling centers are? Is there any instrument for sharing that information?
Yes, so I'm waiting on the City of Truth Consequences to do their actually public announcement, and I will mirror that throughout the county. The last time we set one up here in the county area at the Albert Lyon Center, it wasn't utilized. People are pretty self-sufficient in the unincorporated areas. I've got it located and ready to if we need to stand it up, but I'm just trying to get the cities, that's where our most populous areas are, that are being affected by these water outages and possible electrical outages too. But yeah, definitely, we've got it identified. Once the city pushes that here, maybe an hour or two, then it'll go out to all residents.
Thank you. Anything else? Go ahead, Ron.
Thank you.
Ernie?
Good morning. Just normal routine maintenance. I got an update on the AC unit at the courthouse. That will be, it's being picked up today and scheduled for tomorrow or Thursday to be put on. We already checked with the courts. Those are the 2 days they have no court, so they should be good with that. We're keeping up with the Ray with the grass down there. It gets hot. It looks really nice, and then we don't get enough water on it. Gets little brown spots. So it's a game over there with that, but we're keeping on top of it. We went out with the road department, helped them with some projects, and now the last couple of weeks we went out and poured little concrete slabs to put the mini splits on. So we'll be putting those at the 3 transfer stations and getting those hooked up for them. So those will be good to go. Stand for any questions.
Questions, Jim? Thank you, Ernie.
Thank you.
Sheriff, I've got you. You're last on the list. Are you ready to share with us?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, sorry, I didn't bring my notepad today. It's been a busy couple of weeks, so. Last week I attended the New Mexico Counties Conference in Gallup. There's some legislative changes that are being proposed to the elected official statutes. I don't know if you all have received that or not. If not, as soon as I get the final version, I'll send that out to everybody. I know they've included the commission affiliate, the manager's affiliate, the sheriff's affiliate. Everybody's kind of gone through it, but definitely something to stay on top of. I think it's gonna be a good thing. It looks like they're just cleaning up some of the 1800s language in New Mexico statute, kind of bringing it up to date, streamlining some of that. That was one of the big conversations. As New Mexico County's board rep for Sierra County, I was elected to be on the executive board to represent our district down here, so that'll give us a little bit more of a voice on that board with New Mexico Counties. I did just finalize a off-highway vehicle enforcement grant with New Mexico Game and Fish. They're gonna give us $10,000 in overtime to go up and work the off-highway vehicle stuff up in the US Forest and BLM lands. So we're looking forward to that. That'll kick off in July as well. The Operation Stone Garden Grant, we're expecting that to get approved and kick back in by the end of July. That's what we're being told now. We're still waiting on FEMA. But, that'll increase our patrols throughout the county as well. I recently did a press release on the fireworks and the bands and what's legal and what's not, both in the county, Elephant Butte, Williamsburg, since we contract there. We're trying to push a big, public information there, trying to hopefully quell some of the calls we get and some of the questions. Elephant Butte's partnering with us. They're putting out flyers and information out in Elephant Butte as well. But I wanted everybody to understand what the county ordinance that was passed, what it prohibits and what it allows. So we put that out, hopefully that'll help. Getting ready for July 4th is coming up. We have planning in progress. We're coordinating with State Park, State Police. We'll have collaborative meetings, later on this week on how everybody's gonna approach and who's gonna take on what areas of responsibility. The city of Elephant Butte has notified me they are having a downtown event through the weekend. It's gonna be there in the open space by City Hall, much like they've done in years past for the Elephant Days and things like that. We started the process on the open position that can be filled after July 1. So we've gotten a few applicants there and a couple of certified applicants. We're excited about that. We're also excited we have the Peregrine system. I've talked about that. That's a data analysis and sharing system I got a grant for last year. It's coming on board and we're gonna be fully live on it by the end of July. Some of us have access now, but they're still pulling data and from all of our collection points. That's from our CAD, our record management system, our track system. Every area that we get information is all collected in there and streamlined for us. And it also lumps us in with, I think, like 20 other agencies around the state that we're sharing data with now. On the spaceport closures, I spoke to them out there. There were concerns brought to Commissioner Hopkins about some information of when those were gonna happen. I think we have it worked out with them, where we're gonna take care of some of those notifications that are a little further out, hopefully solve that problem moving forward, but we do have a plan in place for that. And with that, I'll stand for any question.
Questions, Jim? Thank you, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
Amber, County Manager?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. I do have a couple items. I did want to thank the Department of Health. On June 10th, they delivered 150 food boxes to Hillsborough, which was, most of them were gone. We took what was remaining and dropped some off in Array as well as here at the office, so that, very thankful for that. They are also scheduling for July 15th, a health fair at the Hillsborough Community Center that is open for all Sierra County residents if they would like to attend. That is all I have.
Thank you. Comments, Jim? We'll move on then. The May 2026 reconciliation, are there any questions or comments, or is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve May 2026 reconciliation.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Assume Mr. Jones, aye?
Yes. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Old business, we have none, we'll move to new business. Sheriff, we've got the New Mexico Spaceport Authority road closure request for July.
Sheriff, I might
Come on, go right ahead.
Good morning. We are asking again for blanket authority for July. We do have two separate customers. One customer, we will not close AO 13, will just be in the boundaries of Spaceport America, but on a county road. And the other one is for a different customer that we will have to close AO 13 for maybe an hour, maximum 2. But it's a very early morning mission.
Okay. Thank you. Sheriff, you're able to respond to that with your department for the Eagle closure?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we also, Ryan reviewed it and Billy reviewed it, everybody's okay with it. AO 13 is gonna be closed for a very small window on that day, and we're gonna make sure that everybody out in that area is well aware of that time frame, as early in advance as we can let them know, but they will be aware of what's coming.
Hey, I've got a question for either one of you. When these roads get closed, now, are residents that live out in that area still allowed to drive?
If we have a pause in the mission,
then we will definitely open up the roads so that it can go through, but otherwise the road is closed until the.
No, I realize that, but I'm talking about people that live out there. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, we notify the individuals that live out there and the ranchers, and they are to either leave the area or they can't leave their residence. It depends on the mission.
Thank you.
Anything else? Is there a motion to approve the road closure request?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the road closure request.
I'll second. Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion is approved.
Thank you.
Manager Vaughn, what is the discussion and direction oh, never mind, this is AO 13, so Manager Vaughn, go right ahead.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. So as you're well aware, this project began prior to my arrival in 2022 and has had several years of coordination between Sierra County, NMDOT, BLM, and the State Land Office and other affected parties. The goal has been to transfer the responsibility of County Road AO 13, commonly known as Spaceport Road, to NMDOT. As part of the effort, last year we adopted Resolution 2025-32, recognizing that road as a public prescriptive easement based on the decades of county maintenance and public use. Since that time, NMDOT has completed its legal review. The Office of the General Counsel has determined that they cannot proceed with the road transfer because Sierra County does not own the underlying right-of-way. While the county has established a prescriptive easement, the roadway closes BLM land, State Land Office, and private property. And NMDOT has concerns about acquiring a roadway without clear ownership of the underlying property. Rather than transferring this, NMDOT has proposed an alternate solution under a maintenance agreement. Under that concept, NMDOT would maintain Spaceport Road and Sierra County would maintain an equivalent number of lane miles on designated state roadways. Because ownership would not change, NMDOT believes this option can move forward without State Transportation Commission approval. At this point, I'm just looking for direction from the Commission on whether you'd like staff to continue discussions with NMDOT regarding the proposed maintenance agreement or pursue another action looking at easements and right-of-way.
A question for Attorney Pato.
Yes, sir.
Aren't there state highways that utilize prescriptive easements?
I would imagine so, yes. I couldn't speak to any specific state highways that use, implied easements or, easement dedication, or prescriptive easements, but my understanding is that they would, but maybe they acquire, maybe they condemn, and maybe that's how they, I mean, I know we've had several, DOT condemnation actions in the county before, and maybe that's how they acquire their roads, is they condemn and then do their improvements. I just can't speak to what the state does.
One of the reasons for transferring that road to DOT authority is to seek improvement of that road as Spaceport continues to expand. And that's beyond the capabilities of the county and actually originates on the southern end in Domiana County. But that road gets quite a bit of use, and we look forward to that being developed and improved so that it's not such a rough drive. That road really needs quite a bit of help. So I don't know, I'm not sure that the maintenance agreement, because our intent is for them to take control of that road and then to improve it. I'm not sure what our action is. Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Hopkins, you have any ideas?
Well, I would say continue working with NMDOT, but it's kind of hard working with them when they won't respond.
Yes, Chair, Commissioners, I have asked for a copy of what an example of what the maintenance agreement would look like to see what responsibilities that would have, and I have yet to hear back from them.
Do we need to go to the secretary with an inquiry of the status?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I think it'd be helpful to have a conversation with DOT, whether it's the secretary or undersecretary or, division, chief. I've reviewed their correspondence regarding A13, and we adopted this resolution back in April of last year. Recognizing A13 as a public prescriptive easement after 70 years of its maintenance by the county and its use by the public. And certainly the statute
getting response and cooperation from the DOT. Is this out of Deming or is this out of Sanford? It's out of Deming?
Yes, Seven Deming.
Well, I think we need to elevate the request to above, at least to the division, if not to the undersecretary. Mr. Jones, do you have thoughts?
Yeah, if it's a question of ownership, is it, how hard would it be to determine the ownership of the road as it travels to the spaceport? I'm trying to think what portion of it would be through private property.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Jones, I'm not, without a map in front of me, I'm not able to share, be able to advise on that, but.
So it would seem to me like if the question DOT has is they're uncomfortable with it until there's a determination on ownership or being able to deed that over. If we really wanna do something with it, I would think that we should just convene a meeting with BLM, State Land Office, and any interested property owner. Just have a meeting with them to try to get some kind of resolution there. I wouldn't think it would be tough to get that right of way prescribed to the county in almost any instance there.
Well, Keith can sure give us land status on whatever parcels are private and feel in the state, we would need to negotiate with them. Yeah, I agree, Mr. Jones, that that's, so would a proposal to find out status and convene a meeting with the authorities and the private landowners be in order?
Mr. Chairman, I would ask for that, and thinking about this in the context of other instances we worked with the DOT, I know they've had engineers or contracts that address land acquisition, so I know they do this as part of their, so they actually go and they buy their easements, I guess, for their projects. So I see no reason not to have that conversation with the State Land Office, with BLM, with the private property owners. And we can first explore whether or not they'd be able to donate that property to the county. And that should address the DOT's concerns. And if not, then we'll come back to the board with a proposed valuation for that property, and we can talk about buying that. That's true.
Well, let's have a motion. May I be so bold as to offer a motion for consideration to direct staff to, number one, determine land ownership on that portion of AO 13 in Sierra County. And, if it's private property, the individuals involved. And number two, convene a meeting with the authorities and the private landowners to include DOT to see where we can move this forward and get an agreement that satisfies all parties. So I would offer that as a motion.
Mr. Chairman, you might want to, this may be getting too far into the weeds, but we probably ought to, talk about obtaining right-of-way wider than the prescriptive easement through there. One of the issues with the roads from the Doniana side is that the amount of right-of-way that they had to work within. And
Pretty much road's edge, wouldn't it?
and so, I don't know how difficult it is to get, the environmental studies and clearance on that, but certainly that, if we're gonna do it at all, if we're gonna have to do that, they need more right of way for the roadway. And so, my hunch is, manager, that this is gonna be a pretty long, drawn out process, but I think it's worthy of pursuing it. So I think the first step is determine who the players are, try to get the players together, and then come up with a conceptual idea of how much additional right of way we need. You know, typically, I mean, if we could, I don't wanna give you a number, but there's a number out there that the DOT could probably say, hey, you know, typically we need 100-foot right of way, or whatever that is, and see if we have a willing group of participants. If not, you know, I wouldn't live with this for 5 years trying to figure it out. Just find out if somebody's willing to do it, and if they're not, put our time and energy and money into continuing with our maintenance on it.
So is that offered as an amendment?
I don't know how to use an all amendment, but if that makes any sense, that's what I'm.
Well, if I could maybe summarize that, examine the needs of rights of way widths and conditions as a third part of that motion.
I would second that motion if we, I would second that if we're clear on what we're doing.
I understand.
You got that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Attorney?
I got that, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Okay. We don't need to repeat it, do we?
No.
Good.
Yes, I'd like that for clarity.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes. Thank you for bringing that up, Amber, that's something we need to move forward. Contracts, agreements, and procurements. MOU between Sierra County and Black Range Ranger District for parking. I see Ryan's coming to the podium.
Yes, sir, good morning again. District Ranger Brett Malott wanted to tell you that he was unavailable today to attend this meeting, so I'll be speaking on his behalf too. This proposed memorandum of understanding between Sierra County and the Black Range Ranger District is to allow, for the U.S. Forest Service to utilize a little less than half an acre. Behind this building here, we've got a little over 3 acres of utilized land that we're gonna put the Emergency Operations Center on. And Black Range Ranger District personnel, they're ever expanding in their operations, and they have limited storage and parking over there at the building right next to us. You know, there's some future growth going in over there, so it just kind of, you know, they kind of get squeezed in. Our partnership with our federal partners over there is a great thing. You know, they monitor, they maintain, they mitigate risk and do fire suppression activities throughout the Gila National Forest. And that's a lot of space back there for the Emergency Operations Center. So we discussed it with District Ranger Brett Malott, maybe them utilizing a little less than half an acre for parking, which would be for severity engines, maybe a couple connexes for their equipment. I don't know if you've ever noticed how small their area is back there. It's a lot of activity going on there. We think it'd be great for the partnership for them to utilize this space just because it has that cohesion between our teams, especially when they have all the severity engines that they bring in every year. Right now they've got folks from Idaho, Arizona, they're all over the place, and they monitor and patrol all of our rural communities throughout the Gila National Forest. There's a map provided on the back. We've had our current architect kind of just put that in there on that spot, so you'll see it'll be directly with behind the building. It's probably not in view from Date Street or any other business. They will be responsible for the own infrastructure. As you know, their GSA services will do the gravel, the security fencing, any electrical, if they wanted any lighting and any cameras. So Forest Service will be responsible for that. Currently, right now, we're working through our topo surveys for that lot back there because we're getting into the process of slowly about to break ground for the Emergency Operations Center. So having all this come together at the same time will ensure we're not overlapping duties. It's on the back page. Do you need another one? Do you have the map? Okay, just making sure. We can see the layout. So that property back there is a little tricky, you know, because we have a creek or such arroyo that runs on the perimeter of it. So that's why we're doing the topo surveys. And I think this would be great because our Emergency Operations Center is back there and we'll have the Forest Service teams back there with us. It's gonna work out really well, especially with our partnership. If you guys ever get a chance, it's hard to see it, but they're cram packed over there in their lot. I mean, they've got side-by-sides, they got engines, they got connexes for their tools. And it's pretty busy operations back there, but it's pretty squeezed in at the same time. District Ranger Brett Malott, you know, I wish he could have been here, but they help us out tremendously with our rural communities, and I want to ensure that we foster that relationship and continue the growth with it.
I understand
pedestrian gate right there. That way, if they park their vehicles, they can walk straight through to their yard, to their back bay. But yeah, the arroyo is, on the west end, it goes between here and the high school, from Ashfall's property down. That won't be touched because that's good drainage that comes off, New School Road. But, yeah, it's, the topo survey, we walked around out there last week with the architects, designing the emergency operations center, and he didn't realize the different grades we had back there, but it's great usable property. You know, it's out of the sight of, you know, just normal business, but it's a lot of acreage for us in the EOC, so I'm actually looking forward to having those resources over there with us, because they don't just provide support for our unincorporated areas within the National Forest. You know, if something happens locally, we honor our JPAs with State Forestry and, US Forest Service, and they will support any fire suppression activities we have.
Comments or questions, Jim?
So whatever what is the city of TRC's involvement in any of that for building codes and that kind of thing?
So we will, CID will go up to there and we'll be with code, and I'm actually, and for utilities too, I'm meeting with the water department today just to figure out where our water and sewage and all that goes through.
I was going more to the city of TRC for zoning issues.
We will
Is that-
have to be working
has that
with them.
been- Well, we're doing the MOU here, is that spelled out in here?
With city, not yet.
We're in the city of
Yeah.
TRC limits, right?
Correct.
So if they wanna put Connex boxes or whatever that is that, mirror the city codes
Approved. They currently have connexes now, so it will fall under their code.
where they're at?
Yes, sir.
We're moving them to a new location.
We can confer with them if you wanna table this,
Well,
and we can.
I'm not interested in tabling, I just wanna know if we should act in pretty good partnership with the city.
Agreed. Agreed.
I wouldn't like this to get into a memorandum of understanding and then that be against the city code, and then us be in the middle of that argument, so I just think that the city should have some involvement in.
We will ensure we remain in compliance with city code.
Chair and Commissioner, if I may.
I'm thinking the Forest Service should be in compliance with the city code. That's it.
Go ahead.
I was just going to mention that, yes, as part of this project, as we go through the EOC and as part of, we do this parking lot with conjunction with the Forest Service, we will be getting permits from the city as required.
We're zoned properly.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Anything else? Well, is there a motion to approve the MOU between Sierra County and Black Range Ranger District?
So moved.
I have a motion, is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye. Aye. That motion passes, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Contract between Sierra County and TRC Municipal Schools for school resource officer. Sheriff, come on up.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you. I'm assuming Dale had a copy. I don't have my copy, I gave it to Monica, so I think one of y'all probably has my copy, but it's, pretty self-explanatory. It follows the, RFP that I sent in. It has been sent to Attorney Pato and Manager Vaughn for review. I'll stand for any questions if there are any.
Questions, gentlemen? Got Cindy for tab, that's by your side.
So basically, the city had this last year, and now the sheriff's department's picking up the SRO, correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
So Sheriff, on this, how much additional risk do we pick up by picking up this stuff at schools? How's that affect our insurance?
It doesn't cause any change to our insurance, Commissioner. We were already handling several calls at the schools and additional issues.
And the way this used to work, and correct me if I'm wrong, the district pays half the salary
So the contract, the RFP I put out was for $60,000, so the Tier C schools will pay the county $60,000, which covers more than half of the salary. It covers most of the salary, and then the county's picking up benefits and deputy expenses. And then there's also a clause in there, if they request additional for extracurricular events, because the way their school week is, there's 4 hours a week that we have in flux for extracurricular events, football games, volleyball games, basketball games, things like that. If they request additional support beyond that, then we would invoice them for time and a half plus the FICA expenses.
And where will this officer be housed at? At the high school? Is he gonna be rotating between schools or?
So they house the SRO at the high school, but they rotate between all 4 schools. So the middle school, both elementaries, and the high school.
And I think that's a good point, because I know when I worked for the schools, it seemed like the elementary schools very seldom saw the SRO, and I think it's important just him to be present at all the schools.
Yes, sir.
And I realize the majority of problems come from the middle and high school then.
So you really don't think this adds to our risk mitigation? Seriously?
No, sir, I don't believe so. I believe no more so than what we do every day. If we violate somebody's rights, we violate somebody's rights, and we're open to litigation. If we do our job correctly and we have the proper policies and procedures in place and we follow those, then I don't believe there's any additional risk.
Sure was it Uvalde?
Well,
Millions of dollars.
Yeah, I think, without running down a rabbit hole, I think anybody can view what officer did in that situation as a problem. I don't know what their situation was, I'm not gonna speak to it, but what I can tell you is, that's not how we would handle that situation, so.
So 60,000 gives them a full-time SRO?
Yes, sir.
And how much do you pay an officer a year?
It's dependent upon the experience, we have a whole, waterman. I don't know the annual, I believe it's around 50.
Plus benefits, plus cars, plus all
Right.
that extra stuff?
Yes, sir.
So this officer is dedicated there full-time, or am I incorrect?
Yes, sir, during the school year, yes, sir.
Sheriff, when you get a call of a situation in any of the schools, even with a current resource officer, you're sending deputies to the scene to assist with whatever the situation is, are you not?
Yes, sir.
And that's been the common policy and procedure for you and the last several sheriffs. All right.
That is correct, yes, sir. On top of that, over the last couple of years, we've been the lead on several cases at the schools, whether it be, whatever the situation was, we got the call and were requested, and of course, we went and did our job. And so, we're already doing part of the work. My intent here is to build a partnership with the schools for prevention and education, as well as to have somebody there and build partnerships with the youth.
If this contract is agreed to today, you have a deputy in place that will assume this position?
I do, yes, sir. An experienced, certified, deputy who I believe will fit this role very well.
And then you will have a vacancy to fill, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's the one we're advertising for right now, that we currently have a couple of certified applicants for.
And this was a competitive bid process, was it not?
Yes, sir, the school put out a request for proposals, and we submitted our proposal and got the award.
Thank you.
So, Sheriff, my only concern, what do you do when the guy is sick or gone or on family medical leave? What happens then?
So the way the contract's written is if they're gonna be out for just 1 or 2 days, regular shift deputies will cover calls and then ensure patrols. And then if it's gonna be some sort of extended, period, then we reassign somebody. Much like we do when we have shortages in investigations or on patrol now, we just move our personnel around. At the end of the day, if we're that shorthanded, yours truly will be up there.
And that language is in this memorandum?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's certainly your department. I don't, it's concerning to me that it's a $60,000 contract. We're paying somebody 50, furnishing a car, furnishing all the extra stuff. My gut is that we're not really covering the cost, but I'm certainly not gonna get in your way with this. And I know we're trying to work with everybody, but the schools are flooded with money, so, I don't know.
And you are exactly right. That monetary amount does not cover our expenses. But one, it's a partnership in my view. It's a partnership and a chance to intervene in some of our youthful people and have a positive relationship with them. And build those relationships with our kids at the schools as well as the personnel who work there. But then also, we do get utilization of that deputy in the summer months when we're our busiest, when school's out of session, to help supplement our patrol shifts, as well as during the holidays as well. So, it's a little bit buy and trade. Yes, we are giving and meeting kind of down the middle, but I believe it's a worthy investment.
Any other questions or comments? Attorney Page.
Mr. Jordan, if I might, I would only ask that you authorize, if you're gonna approve this, MOU or this agreement, that you authorize, staff to, negotiate the terms with the schools. By and large, the contract is fine, I take no issue with it, but I definitely wanna see a 30-day termination provision in there, and there's a few other things I'd like to see in there as well. So, if you might provide us the authorization to go back with our changes and, authorize staff to execute after, those have been accepted, I appreciate it.
Okay.
So we get into this again, I've got to, how quick do they need somebody there? Sure.
Well, the contracts-
To the end, this isn't really gonna have much effect until next year, right?
Until the end of July, first part of August, yes, sir. So, about.
We need somebody there now?
No, the end of July, first of August, so about 3.5, 4 weeks.
So, I always have trouble with these coming in and they say, well, maybe we staff ought to negotiate a little bit of this and maybe we ought to come back and then just give us the free will to do that. I just never comfortable with that because it's always something falls through the cracks and all. And so if we need to relook at it, why don't we just relook at it, bring us a clean document and say, okay, this is what we decided.
That sounds great.
And that's up, if the rest of the guys wanna delegate that, that's fine. I just don't feel good with it because we never do really know what happens in this zone. Guess what? We had this in here and you approved it, right? So, that's mine. Because and Sheriff, I appreciate the fact that we're looking at the schools, building that rapport with the kids, because kids just don't seem to like policemen anymore. And I like your approach there. And it's a worthy cause. So I wanna support that, and I wanna make sure that it's sound with the county, because the county's the one that ends up paying the lawsuit.
Yes, sir.
Sheriff, the next meeting is July 21st. Is that an imposition if we delay that until we get additional negotiation points in this contract?
I don't believe so. I think, I would defer to Attorney Pato. I think he's looking at a severance clause, and what else did you say, sir?
That was for what's most important to me, is a 30-day termination provision. I would add, if I had time with it, I received this last night, but if I had time with it, I'd probably go through it and make some additional provisions, but ultimately, as long as we get a 30-day termination provision in there, I'd be okay.
Jones, are you seeking negotiation for an increased amount?
No, and I was hoping to make that clear. I have a concern with that, but that, again, that's, the sheriff is the one that thinks he can do it for that, and that'll prove up certainly out of his budget, right? So I don't wanna push him around on that. I think the mitigation, I think state law requires a termination clause in there. That is in there, and I think a few of those things that might get cleaned up, but would have full attorney review. I think would be prudent, if that meets with your deadline, so.
Yes, I think we would be fine. Either way, if you wanted it to come back to commission for, the legalities on the 30-day severance and that sort of thing, we can bring it back, that's not a problem. I think the school board meeting's like July 13th or something like that, where they'll have to approve it there as well, so, it's not gonna slow anything down on my side. It's whichever way y'all wanna go. If y'all wanna let the county attorney and county manager approve that and then bring it back to the chair for signature, or if y'all want it to go back before the whole board, I'm good either way.
So, Mr. Jones, is that a, motion to table?
Yeah, I could do that. I would move to table it until the next meeting, have it back by the next meeting, allow attorney and the manager to go over those details and make sure that they're clean on both sides to give protection, and I'm sure if that would be my motion.
Is there a second?
And that's okay with your timeline, correct?
Yes, sir, we'll be fine.
Moved and seconded to table. All in favor, say aye.
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 And that
motion is
tabling was
tabled.
to the next meeting, this next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thanks, Sheriff.
We'll go to item C, contract 2026-06-011, between Sierra County and the City of Truth and Consequences for mosquito spray.
Thank you, Chair. I'll hand it over to our procurement officer. Thank you.
Very good. Good morning, Chair, Commissioners, Manager Vaughn. You're absolutely right. This is for the approval of a contract for vector control services, more commonly known as mosquito control services, with the City of Truth and Consequences for 1 year, with automatic renewals on an annual basis for up to 4 additional 1-year terms. If approved, the county would pay up to $15,600 per year for services provided during the active months of July through October. The current vector control services contract with the City of TRC expires as of July 9th, 2026. The county's historically coordinated vector control services in partnership with the City of Truth or Consequences, and this initiative prioritizes the use of qualified licensed applicators to provide these critical community services. Thank you for your consideration to award this contract, and with that, I will stand for any questions.
Questions? Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the contract 2026-06-001 between Sierra County and the City of Truth and Consequences Vector Control Services.
Segundo, second.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. That motion is approved. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you very much.
You know, in Florida, there are actually commissions that elected positions for.
They got lots more mosquitoes than we do.
I mean, there was campaign signs everywhere when I was there. Mosquito patrol.
We'll move on to resolutions, ordinances, and proclamations. Resolution 2026-39, Sierra County adopting the Sierra County 2026 Hazard Mitigation Plan. Manager Vaughn and Ryan.
Thank you, Chair. I'll hand it over to our emergency manager.
This resolution is the formal adoption of the hazard mitigation plan. This process has been going on for about 2 years now. A little over 2 years ago, we received the grant from FEMA to carry on with this project. All the other jurisdictions, Elephant View, TRC, and Village of Williamsburg have approved this resolution. It's just the last step in the process. Once we submit all the approved resolutions, it goes to FEMA. we're already approved by FEMA, on this plan, which went to the state and then went to FEMA. This is just the last step. Once they receive all the approved resolutions, then we will go into publication and distribution with this plan. And just for your awareness that, you know, the hazard mitigation plan, as we spoke before, is renewed every 5 years. This identifies risks and hazards within the county, which allows and opens up funding avenues if we were to put in grants to do flood mitigation or wildfire. And then when we do declare a disaster, if it's identified on our plan, a risk or hazard, then it opens up that funding avenue. And just for historical reference, the 2019 hazard mitigation plan only had 6 identified hazards and risks within the county. This year, we stepped it up to 16. And then we just had dam failure, drought, flood, winter storm, wildfire, and severe storms. This year, we added earthquake, expansive soils, landslide and rockfall, land subsidence, volcano. People ask why. We're sitting in a situation on top of geothermal vents. We never know. We're happy to know that hot water comes out of it, but you just never know. And if it's identified on there, then, you know, if we have any shifts going on. We separated severe storms from tornado, high wind, hail, extreme heat, and extreme cold. And we also added some human-caused risk and mitigation, risk and hazards in there, to include critical infrastructure, food and supply chains, resource allocation, communities at risk, and health and medical. The plan that was presented to the public, for public input review, we received some feedback on it. Everyone seems pretty positive and support with it. There also is for official use only, to include other hazards mitigations on there. But yeah, this is just the last step. It's been a long drawn out process. I'm extremely excited to have it completed. It's just gonna be good to have it published, and distributed to all of our jurisdictions. I'll stand for any questions.
Questions or comments, Bill? Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve resolution number 2026-39, Sierra County adopting the Sierra County 2026 hazardous mitigation action plan.
Second. Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion is approved. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Resolution 2026-40, fiscal year 26 budget adjustment. Amber and Jessica.
You shall hand it over to Jessica Pinion, Finance Director.
Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning, Commissioners, Manager Vaughn. This month's budget adjustment starts off with a $10,000 amendment to overtime budget within the Sheriff's Department. In April, the Commission approved a co-op agreement with the U.S. Forest Service for patrols of the Gila. So this budget amendment will increase the revenue and expenditures in the amount of $10,000 to cover those expenditures and the reimbursement of the funds. The second amendment is related to an award that we received from the ORC, so the Opioid Remediation Collaborative, and Valencia County in the amount of $93,600. This is for the salary support for a clinical supervisor at the Olive Tree. The funds were received last week, and so this amendment will add that budget to FY26. The third adjustment is related to an LEPF reimbursement. We paid for registration for instructor development training. The class was canceled due to low registration, and the funds were reimbursed to Sierra County. So this amendment will return the funds to the budget and make it available to be spent down before June 30th. The final adjustment is for LEDA funds that were received in 2020 in the amount of $500,000. This includes a transfer from the general fund to the Fund 511, which is where our LEDA funds or our LEDA accounts are. The project was never brought to fruition. This is with AeroVironment, and as a result, the state is requesting that we take the steps necessary to repeal the ordinance and revert the funds back to the state. So this amendment will add the budget to FY26 so that we can proceed with that after the ordinance has been appealed. And I will stand for any questions.
Questions, gentlemen?
actually I do. What do we need to do on the LEDA issue? Does that just need to come to an agenda or what?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioner Jones. So what's gonna happen is the July agenda will have a direction to publish the repeal, and then in August we'll repeal the ordinance, and then we can issue the funding back.
Anything else?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve resolution number 2026-40, fiscal year 26 budget adjustment resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye. Aye, that motion passes. We'll go to resolution 2026-41, certifying the correctness of the fiscal year 25-26 fiscal inventory. Manager Vaughn and Jessica.
Thank you, Chair. I'll hand it over to Jessica. Thank you.
Thank you again, Commissioners, Manager Vaughn. This resolution is for the certification of our physical inventory for fiscal year 26. Sierra County staff conducted an annual physical inventory in accordance with New Mexico State Statutes, Administrative Code, and the State Audit Rule. We inventoried capital assets with an acquisition value of $5,000 or greater. This includes things like vehicles, heavy equipment, infrastructure-related equipment where applicable, and other inventory property in the county asset records. As you know, Sierra County has had an audit finding related to capital assets and inventory for some time. And in February, we had the adoption of our fixed asset policy. And this certification resolution for FY26 inventory represents a significant progress towards resolving that longstanding deficiency. During the inventory process, we did identify some discrepancies that will remain under review, things like record keeping or tracking or classification issues. And we'll continue to implement corrective actions and strengthen our internal controls to ensure continued compliance with the state requirements and resolving the audit finding. Based on the inventory performed and the inventory information in your packet, we're respectfully requesting your approval and certification of the FY26 inventory. I will stand for any questions.
Questions or comments?
I'll make a call. I wanna thank you for helping me at the flood office.
Oh, for sure, yes, that's what we do.
That was nice. My only, and it's really nice to see that this has been fixed after 7 or 8 years. And I mean, it's really an important thing. I would hope that going forward, we would take that $5,000 number down.
Yes.
Because our inventory loss is not a car.
Sure, yeah.
It's not a vehicle, it's a computer and a printer and all of those other things that aren't tracked, so.
And that is in our plan, moving forward into fiscal year 27, is to include sensitive items and things that will easily walk away.
Yes.
Like our computers and monitors, that kind of thing. The focus this year was on the items that were 5,000 and up, because that will meet the state requirements.
Right, and, you know, I think all of us have been to a yard sale and found two-way radios, fire gear, all of that kind of stuff, because it's easy to get rid of, but thanks for that, and I know that was a big job. Biggest part was probably getting there, so thanks for your patience.
Yep.
You need a motion on it?
Yes, I did. Manager Vaughn, did you want to add anything else?
Chair, I just wanted to thank the finance department for doing this. I know it was a large undertaking, and it's been in the works for a really long time, so I really appreciate it, and thank you guys.
Well, before we take a motion, you're right, Commissioner Jones. I came on this commission in July of 2018, and it has been a thorn in my side ever since. A lot of it was tracking items that we had on the list that we couldn't find. And through really aggressive management and inventory, Jessica and staff and Amber's included in that have been able to resolve that. And the ghost items have been written off through time. But it's great that we get this resolved and move forward with property management and assets in the county. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I would move to approve resolution 2026-41, the resolution certifying that correctness of the 25-26 fiscal inventory of capital assets, vehicles, equipment, and other county property.
Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
I did.
Yes, I did.
Motion is approved. We'll go to letter D, resolution 2026-42, adopting the 26 through 32 infrastructure capital improvement plan. Manager Vaughn.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. So each year, the County Commission puts together an ICIP to reflect our current capital improvement needs and priorities. Over the last several months, we've had multiple public input meetings in Winston, Hillsborough, Array, as well as here in Tier C. I've met with department heads as well as each of you individually to gather input on the local needs and concerns. Using that information, I have updated the project list. I'm trying to get it to work. Okay. You have a copy of the presentation in front of you. I updated the project list, removed projects that have been completed or are no longer our priorities, and I added new projects where appropriate. The proposed priorities reflect a balance of our public safety, infrastructure, and community benefit and long-term planning goals. So based on the input from all of that, I have put together the top 5 based on input. The fairgrounds, the new swine facility at $2.2 million. Priority number 2 is Array Recreation Facility improvements. That $450,000 represents the modular bathrooms and some planning documents. There are some need for some district courthouse improvements. As we heard from Ernie earlier, we are replacing one of the HVAC units. I would like to do an analysis and do some additional upgrades. I know that there's need for fire alarm to be upgraded as well as the other HVAC to be upgraded and some lighting upgrades, so I'd like to do that. And number 4 is Divide Well Road. That $500,000 represents a feasibility study and planning document to see what would be needed to actually complete that project. And number 5 on that list is the Hot Springs Landing roads and sewer improvements. That is also for a study. I know there's been desire to look at that section of the county and see if we can connect them to sewer. And those are the top 5 for FY28. The next page, the FY29 through 32, also reflect some of the items that came from the public input meetings and from y'all. Construction and demolition landfill was brought up multiple times. Schmidt Road, which is County Road 52, that needs improvements. That is the road to the cemetery out in Winston. We do need a detention transport van. Sugar Sand Bridge Phase 2, that is lower priority right now. We're waiting on news from TPF, from NMDOT, to see if we receive that funding. We may need to change the priority of that if we do not receive that funding. Hillsborough outfall channel and drainage improvements. We have received no funding for that, but it has been recommended for congressional directed spending. So if that doesn't come to fruition, we may need some additional funding for that. The detention Sallyport, that is a safety concern at the detention center. East Grand Percha Bridge 7889 needs rehabbed. Winston lighting, there was some requests when we were in Winston, for lighting on the street by the community center. Sheriff's Department vehicles, a vacuum excavator trailer for the road department, a forklift that could be shared between roads and facilities, a road reclaimer, steel wheel roller replacement, dump trucks, and backhoes. And with that, I will leave it open to discussion. If there's any changes that want to be made, we can look at that.
Gentlemen, we'll open it for discussion. Do you have ideas or concerns?
No, I'd just like to comment, I like where the fairgrounds is number 1, simply because I think it suits all outlying areas, because I know you've got kids from Array showing, you've got kids from Winston showing, you've got kids coming from Caballo. It's not focused on one area of the county, so I like that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Jones, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I got a couple, so. I'm not gonna rain on the parade at the fairgrounds, because that's something that we've been working on. There's a couple I guess I'm wondering about. On Sugar Sand Road, where bridge, that's the bridge across the Rio Grande, right?
Correct.
Where are we at with that right now?
Currently, we have done phase 1, which was design, and then we have funding for phase 1 of construction, which is slated to start next summer. If
we get phase 2 money, that will be the construction of phase 2, but we will combine those together to do construction at one time.
So what is phase 1 construction?
Phase 1 construction is 1 lane of the bridge, leaving the current bridge open, but constructing the first lane of the new bridge. And we have received the funding for that.
So is the old bridge gonna stay in place?
Until the new bridge is constructed so that we do not block traffic.
Not that I'm in the business, but how do you build a half a bridge?
So what Bohannon and Houston had suggested was leaving the whole bridge open and it's moving over just one and they do 1 lane at a time. The new bridge wouldn't be used until we could get both phases of construction done and the old bridge would still be in usage.
Which is,
So what portion would use the old bridge and the other would go around?
No, sir, the new bridge wouldn't be in use until both phases have been completed in construction.
so what do you think we're lacking to finish that up, dollar-wise?
It's 4.5 million.
4.5.
Yes, sir.
And we have how much
4.4, I believe.
right now? So
Currently,
we're
yes.
talking 8 million.
Almost $9 million to complete the bridge, correct?
Okay. I guess I guess my issue is that if we're gonna put 4 million into something that we may or may not use for a while, I guess would it warrant moving that up higher into the top 5?
Chair and Commissioner Jones, we can do that now. We have up until November to change prioritization. We should hear about the TPF funding by September of this year. And if we do not receive that next funding of TPF, I would come back to the commission and ask to change the priority of that item.
So we already have 4.5.
Yes, sir.
And the TPF would add that other 4.5.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'll talk about, I know the courthouse stuff is obviously important. I like the array area because we've done something there and it'd be nice to see that continue to improve. Bathrooms are a big part, right?
Yes, sir.
I think we're looking at some safety fencing and stuff like that, so, I mean, those are really positive projects that I see, and the folks down there have really done a good job of trying to take care of things, so that's pretty neat to see that. So I like that in there. And the Hot Springs Landing roads and sewer, that was, there was some talk, I don't know what's happened to it since, but regionalizing this water and sewer in, Tier C, Elephant Butte, and state parks. I don't know how much that has for legs now, it was getting some legs before I didn't have involvement in that. But that could be a really big project if the collaboration sticks between Elephant Butte, the county at Hot Springs, New Mexico State Parks, and the city of Tier C. That could be a project that really has, I'm confident that has some really good opportunity to be funded in the $60–70 million rate. There's money out there for that stuff between the state and whatnot, so I like the idea of it. If we haven't gone through with that collaboration, because I don't know where those talks are, but getting the conceptual idea on that is probably a first step that maybe we can offer up. When I become uninvolved in that, the idea was to do that conceptual design, portion of that for the global or the bigger water and sewer projects, okay? I don't know where that stands, I haven't heard any other chatter from that, so that would be good. That would be one, I think, that if that did get one of the entities to go forward with the conceptual on that, whether it be State Park, City of TRC, or Elephant Butte, that would be one where that money could change as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
We could reroute that, okay. But I think that's worthy.
Commissioner Jones, that discussion is ongoing. It hasn't gone before either council or commission yet, but there have been discussions with state parks and with Elephant Butte and TRC in continuing towards that as a desired regional formation of some sort of agency that would have the ability to spend those dollars and span the state parks in the two communities. But it's ongoing. I don't think that they've reached any conclusions and brought it forward to a public discussion and a resolution or moving forward with organization of a group.
So what I know is that, 'cause I was in those talks early on, what I do know is that if any one of the organizations would step up to the Water Trust Board to get that planning document in place, and it could be us, that, we could get that in place to start that funding process. There's a lot of federal money out there, and there's a lot of state money out there, and it's a priority. And I guess my suggestion would be, is if Elephant Butte isn't stepping up, the city of TRC isn't stepping up, I would think that, you know, maybe we ought to step up and say, let's go get the planning grant from Water Trust Board and try to get Hot Springs Landing in there. I will tell you that the roads out there at Hot Springs Landing are not good. It's probably the biggest environmental threat to the lake and to the people around there. There's no, I don't know if they have water service there, but certainly the sewer is bad. And with all due respect, I think that we, you know, that's a piece that we really hadn't looked at, and I certainly didn't. When we were talking about this, I just assumed, oh, well, that's all part of Elephant Butte's water and sewer planning, which it is. It's actually that, the cost of that is part of their regional wastewater work, so there's been work done on that. So I don't know, maybe, Jim, if you talk with some of those other guys, if they don't want to step up and move forward on it, maybe we could look at it, and I know that's a lot of extra work.
I was gonna, just Chair and Commissioner Jones, if I might, if this is approved as a priority, one of the first things I would do is reach out to all the entities involved and have a sit down with the managers so we could discuss.
Yeah, and because that would be a pretty neat deal, that this whole regional water and sewer issue would be, to me, would be one of the best things that this community ever did. And I'm talking about Elephant Butte, City of TRC, and the county. It's a big deal that we could help our citizens. And it's a big project and a big lift, so.
Elephant Butte TRC had a meeting with State Parks Director last week, and State Parks is on board and wants to participate. So when I say they're under discussion, they're moving forward to get a plan to bring it to the public, and it just hasn't grown enough to put all the elements in place and bring it to the public. That's their desire, and I think you're right, we can participate as a county, if nothing else, as a facilitator and be involved in the process.
Well, there was some pretty sour feelings between State Parks and Elephant Butte that I attempted to fix, and we had that going, and that's a really positive thing, because those are all part of our community and partners, and State Parks needs to get along with Elephant Butte, we need to get along with them, you know, we all need to just kind of work together on that, so that, I like that, and hopefully that can run forward.
So is your suggestion to move Sugar Sand Bridge Phase 2 up, or would we leave Hot Springs Landing Roads and Sewer at number 5?
I don't know, listening to the manager, it's possible that this could be a little bit fluid, so maybe we just leave things alone.
Yeah, we've got
in that.
that.
Yeah. And the only thing that I have any heartburn on is Divide Road, and I know that's been in there forever, but
Well,
I'm not gonna cry about it, but
we've got a meeting to try to resolve that. We're gonna gonna meet with, Department of Economic Development, Rod Black, and there may be some monies to do an assessment of if that road in fact is worthy of pursuing, so we'll have that meeting and then know more to reflect in the future. This 500,000 is just really for a feasibility assessment.
And there's a couple of us that probably use that road more than most. And if we're worried about safety and commuting, the real problem with the road to the spaceport is Ash Canyon.
It is.
The hazard in all of this is from the cutoff to Elephant View, through the canyon and back up on that road. The Divide Well Road is, I'm not gonna get that far into it, but I would never support anything that Divide Well Road. We have a state highway going to Engle. That stuff, excuse me, could be improved. After we turn at Engle going to Spaceport, there's some real problems with that road and quite frankly, if in the short term, we're not gonna turn that road over to the state highway department, there needs to be some improvements on that road now. It's, get in trouble here, but the cattle guards are an embarrassment. They've been that way forever. And that's not that big a fix that should be done. And I think that would be a good thing for us to try to look at. But anyway, I don't wanna rain on that parade. I think manager's done a great job, and I think the commissioners have all been involved here very heavily. And seems like a pretty good document to me. If there's only one thing that I didn't like, I guess it's pretty good, huh?
It's pretty good.
Major headway.
Slowly.
Is there a motion to accept the top 5 legislative priorities and the other 15 with the ability to revise priorities prior to November?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move to approve.
I would second that.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's real progress.
That was easier than we thought it was gonna be, didn't it, Mr. Chairman, huh?
Thank you, commissioners. Yep, that was a good deal.
It's okay, they're not over yet.
Okay. We have gotten to the end of our agenda. We need to go into executive session 10 through 15, E through H, and discuss County of Sierra versus State of New Mexico potential litigation. For the folks in the gallery, our next meeting will be July 21st, 2026 here in the chambers at 10 a.m. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
Mr. Chair, I move to go into executive session.
Is there a second? I'll second.
Reluctantly, I'll second.
I'll second, save the problem, and we'll have a roll call vote. Go ahead.
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Reluctantly, yes.
Okay, we are in executive session. Thank you, folks. A short break.
Short intermission.
We got work to do. I have to sign checks.
out of the executive session. Nothing except the items on the agenda were discussed. No actions were taken. Amy, do a roll call for coming out of executive.
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Is there a motion with direction to staff of item 12, or is there a motion to table?
I move to table.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion is approved. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, if I can come back.
Yeah, that's, Colin will be here, he's gonna come back after, he's got a meeting right now, so he's gonna come back afterwards.
Yeah, I'm late, so I've gotta get to the governing board. I'll be back by 3 or before.
Did you get those maps from Keith? We need them.
Pardon?
Didn't Keith have a map?
No, that's